Reuben Bain and his production are just on another level. 9.5 sacks this year, but 21 sacks in his college career combined, and he's only played 3 years. Jacob Hebert here for NFL World. Going to break this down for you on a new episode of the NFL Dream. When you look at Reuben Bain, you see a guy, crazy production. In 2025, 9.5 sacks, a forced fumble, an interception, a pass breakup, 15.5 tackles for a loss. The guy was just on another level, another entire level. He was so good at what he does, you can't even be shocked by it. You can't. This guy is on another level. He didn't have a great 2024, 3.5 sacks. But in 2023, he had 7.5. He had 3 forced fumbles. He had a pass breakup. Like I said, in 2025, he had 1 forced fumble, an interception, and a pass breakup, along with 9.5 sacks. He was just on a different level of what he was capable of doing. And you look at this guy, he gets insane pressure rate. He gets after the quarterback. He has a high motor. He's relentless. Those are qualities you want. The concern that I have for him, he didn't run the 40-yard dash at the combine or his pro day. He just opted out of it. So I'm a little concerned about that. But the concern I really have is more about these two things that we're going to discuss here, which is, first we'll start with on the field, which is he has short arms. He has 30 7/8 inch arms, which is small. Like we're talking, like arm length matters as a defensive end. Like it matters for, an arm length matters for a corner. You want longer arms. And when you have a guy like Reuben Bain, you're concerned about that. But it's not the only thing you should be looking at. It's like when you are measuring how big a quarterback's hands are or wide receiver's hands are, it's not important. If he can catch the ball, if he can throw the football, then you'll have no issues. Reuben Bain gets after the quarterback. A great comparison of them, and of a few people in this draft, is TJ Watt, because they all have a high motor. They're relentless in terms of pursuing the quarterback. They're athletic. They make plays. They can do a 3-4, 4-3 system like nothing. But also, they all came in with short arms. TJ Watt, that was the biggest concern of his. It was not his motor. It was not how he played the game. It was not how physical he was. He was good. He just had short arms. Short arms do matter in this weird game that we play. The biggest concern I have is, in the case of Reuben Bain, is not what he does on the field. I don't think how long his arms are really going to matter what his production is on the field. I think what I'm really concerned about, and because we only found out about this on Sunday, is the 2 incidents that he had, where he was the driver in a fatal car accident that one of the people in his car ended up going into a coma and then 3 months later dying. And according to the family, they did not want to make that public until after the draft. The family of the victim didn't want to make that public until after the draft. At the time, that was March of 2024, Reuben Bain was cited, but the charges were later dropped. In 2025, in October of 2025, he was cited again for reckless driving. That charge was also dropped. So there is 2 instances of this happening. But I want it to be clear. There was 4 people in the car, counting Reuben Bain. One of which, I want to pronounce this name correctly, so I wrote it down, Najalek Kelly, the defensive end from UCF, the University of Central Florida, who's also a draftable player this year. he was in a 30 visit with multiple teams. What a 30 visit is it's 30 players that you can go and talk to more in depth. I guarantee you at some point in the 30 visit conversation with Najalette Kelly, they asked him about Reuben Bain. I guarantee you. According to Todd McShay and a couple other people I truly, truly trust, they all said that the NFL, and he said, by no means am I trying to say that this wasn't a tragedy. This absolutely was a tragedy. But the NFL teams knew about it prior to the media, prior to us fans. The teams knew about it. They vetted the situation and chose to not take him off their draft boards. Now, does that mean that he's as high as he was on the draft boards? That's up for debate. I think he is on everyone's draft board still. I don't think it was so much as of taking him off, but I do think you have to worry about character concerns. So I'm curious to see what happens, because I already thought with the short arms, okay, he can't go top 5 because he's got short arms. He has the production that would say top 10 player, no matter if he has short arms or not. But the character issues, that could drop him out of the top 15 completely. So we'll have to just wait and see what happens in about 7 days. Where does he fall is my question. So I went back and forth, and I ended up picking 5 teams, and I have them in this order of where Reuben Bain Jr. could go. I don't see him going top 5, so let's scrape off the Raiders, Jets, Cardinals, Titans, and Giants. And this is my order from most likely to it would be a good team that he's not going to get selected. The number 1 would be, with the 10th overall pick, the Cincinnati Bengals. Because the loss of Trey Hendrickson, who was a high-motored guy, very powerful guy, speed, everything, that's what Reuben Bain has. So I could see Cincinnati going that direction, but I wouldn't be surprised if they did not. Another team for the number 2 would be, with the 9th overall pick, the Kansas City Chiefs. Because that would be a great trio of Bain, Chris Jones, George Karlaftis. That would be a great trio. I don't think they're going to go there. I think they're going to go slot corner. But I think it was worth noting. Number 3, I would say the Dallas Cowboys. This would be if he gets out of the top 10. If he's at pick 12 for the Cowboys would be over the moon. That's how happy they would be. Because they believe he's a good football player. Does the character concerns and the medical check out? Because another concern about Reuben Bain was, and this was figured out from Dane Brugler, when he did his mock draft, he said that Bain suffered a ACL injury in high school. So that is something that has to be worth looking into medically. But I don't think it's worth that much, in my opinion. The 4th team would be the New Orleans Saints, who hold the 8th overall pick. You're looking at a guy who could do everything that Cam Jordan does at a much younger age. That's what you're looking at. So I think that would end the Cam Jordan journey, in New Orleans at least. And the final one would be the Cleveland Browns, the fifth, I guess, team which would hold the 6th overall pick. That's more because the Browns need so much, but the pairing of Myles Garrett and Reuben Bain would cause quarterbacks and teams alike to have nightmares where they wouldn't be able to sleep for days. I'm really curious to see how that would work. So the top 5 teams that I think he would go are the Cincinnati Bengals, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Dallas Cowboys, which would be 3, the New Orleans Saints, which would be 4, and the Cleveland Browns, which would be 5. Because if you look at the measurables, the height, the speed, the power that he has, everyone says he's an impressive athlete. They're just concerned about the arm length, and then this news that came out about the 2 times that he was cited for reckless driving. The 2 times he was cited for reckless driving, all are valid concerns. Does that mean him go out of the top 10? I'm not 100% certain it does. But you don't want to stack bad days. You always want to stack good days. Sunday didn't go so well for Reuben Bain, but maybe night 1 of the draft will go very well for Reuben Bain. For NFL World, I'm Jacob Hebert. Out.